What this session is really about is you will figure out what are the practical tips or what are the things that you can do right now. How is your thought structure? How is it supposed to be so that you can take the decisions that you're taking for the best and with your best mental structure. Now, before I start the session, there are a few things that really frustrate me about this whole process. All right. Number one is the percentile system. Okay. So the percentile system really frustrates me because one of our students called me up and she told me that, sir, I'm very disappointed. I've got an average percentile. And I asked her, ki average percentile, kitna percentile aaya aapko? She was like, sir, I got a very average percentile. I don't want to tell you that percentile. I was like, please tell me what is your percentile? We'll be able to make better decisions. She told me, sir, it is a very average percentile. I've got only 88 percentile. And guys, as you must have heard right now, yeah, very clearly, she got 88 percentile. And she said that she got average percentile. Now, all of you who are attending this session, about 250 of you, most of you are better than me at quants. And from what I understand from plain mathematics senses, average is about 50-55%, right? But why is this girl who has scored better than 88% of people tell that she's average? If somebody has scored a 90 percentile, they are extremely disappointed. They think they have not got the best score, or because even if you compare them with 10 other people, they're better than 9 people and worse than only 1. And yet they think that they have got an average percentile. I find the system extremely funny. The second thing that I find funny is the gap. The whole concept of the gap. You have taken a gap after your 12th, you have taken a gap after your graduation, you left your job to prepare for the institute, so you took a gap. This gap is like the most Indian of all concepts. I don't understand what is the problem with these institutes and the gap. Okay, in Western countries, nobody asks anybody, why do you take a gap? People finish their high school, they have a nice graduation party as if they achieved something huge after their high school. They go backpacking across countries, they do a job for a few years, and then if they believe that college education is really important, they go back, give their exams and get back into college. Nobody asks them, you took a gap. People do their masters when they're 45, 50 years old. Nobody asks them that you took a gap. Why is the gap system so prevalent here? Honestly, if a person last year, he could not get the best of his colleges and he did not want to compromise with low-level colleges, and so he spent another year just to get into this college, I would be more than proud to have the student inside my college because look at his perseverance, look at his determination. He waited, he worked hard for another year to get into college. This guy doesn't compromise. So it is something that is really worth appreciating. But I don't understand why people call it the gap. The next thing I don't understand is, like, if these guys who are conducting the CAT exam, whoever they are called, if they conducted the selections for the Indian cricket team, the team would not win a single match. And I will tell you why. Because there's something like sectional cutoff for these guys. Okay? So sectional cutoff, like if you got a great score at verbal but a bad score in LRDI, there you cannot get into this institute. No matter if you've got a 99.99 in verbal. If you got a bad score in LRDI, 58 percentile, I'm sorry, you cannot get in. If these guys were conducting the selections for the Indian cricket team, it would be something like this. Virat Kohli would come in for the interview. They would tell, Virat, you've got 99.99 percentile in batting. But because you've got only 52 percentile in bowling, you cannot come into the Indian cricket team. Does this make any sense at all? If there is a guy who wants to get into marketing, he can be good at data interpretation and verbal. Why does he have to be a whiz at quants? Why is this concept of a sectional cutoff? I don't understand. People have different strengths. Why can't they be evaluated on those strengths? But enough of my ranting, guys. We are here to discuss some practical tips on how you can improve your score, or what are the decisions that you should take in your life right now, because that is what is important. Now, this is wrong. There are things which are wrong with the system, but unfortunately we have to go through the system to beat it. The other thing that the system is teaching us, and I believe like this is one of the scammiest of all things, and that is institutes asking us, what is your long-term goal? Where do you see yourself in 15, 20 years? Like, seriously? Who knows where that person is going to be in 15, 20 years? Learning is an everyday process. Expansion of perspective is an everyday process. How can you tell from right now where are you going to be in 20 years? It reminds me of the story. There was this man, he went into a jungle, and in the jungle he saw that on many trees there were these bullseyes. There were these bullseyes which were drawn by crayon, and there were arrows hit exactly in the middle of the bullseye. And there were many trees, many such bullseyes drawn, and arrows that had hit exactly in the middle of the bullseye. This man was extremely startled. He was wondering, who is this great archer whose every shot is hitting the bullseye? So he started looking around, who is this great archer? He found a little boy wandering around in the jungle. He had a bow and arrow in his hand. So this man went to this boy and asked, "Hey, son, I saw that, all of your arrows have hit exactly in the middle of the bullseye. You seem to be a great archer. Can you show how you do it?" The boy said, "Sure." The boy went to a new tree. He pulled his bow, shot the arrow, and when it hit the tree, the boy removed a crayon from his pocket, went to the arrow, and drew a bullseye around it. Many people, when they become successful and when they have reached their goal, they tell their story as if their goal was that they have reached after years of struggle, that goal was extremely clear even years ago. Whereas this is not the fact with most people. With most people, when they begin, they don't even know where they will land up 1 or 2, 5, 10 years from now. They just keep going on. They just keep making efforts. And when they go forward, they realize, that finally they have reached success. Nobody has a clear success goal of what they're going to do in 10 years. When the Bansal started Flipkart, all right, and they started with selling books, right? They started with selling books. Initially, the staff was so low that, they had to hand deliver books to customers themselves. At that point in time, I don't think that Sachin and Binny Bansal would have thought that, 10 years down the line, Flipkart would be at this billion valuation and we would have so many employees and we would be delivering all kinds of products across the country. They wouldn't have that sort of a goal. So guys, if you don't have a long-term goal in your mind, if you think that you're confused, if you don't know whether you want to go into finance or into marketing, if you don't know what is the kind of job you like, if you don't know what is the kind of studies that you want to pursue in future, if you don't know if you want to do a master's, guys, if you're confused, let me tell you today, it's okay. It's okay to be confused. Most of you who are talking to me right now are in their 20s. You have barely seen life. Okay, you're barely out of college. Maybe some of you have a couple of years of work experience. If you're confused, it is okay. It is okay to be confused. Guys, why? Because till you're confused, you explore. And it is when you explore that you realize you learn some things about yourself that you never knew that you had. Some talents you never knew you never had. Some skills you never knew you had. It only happens when you explore. And when you explore, when you're confused, when you're not sure where you have to go, that is when you take risks. If you're sure where you have to go, why will you take a risk? You will never take a risk. And so it is okay to be confused. And no matter what anybody tells you, you should have a long-term goal. Let me tell you guys, there is barely anybody who is successful, who has had a long-term goal in his mind, said that this is exactly where I'm going to be 20 years from today. And that is exactly where they ended up 20 years from today. It doesn't happen, guys. So if you think you're confused, great. I'm proud of you. Because if you are confused, you are exploring. In fact, if somebody tells me that, exactly in 15 years, I want to be in this industry, playing this role and having this client in this revenue at this organization, man, you're creepy. I don't know how you're able to plan that far, because nobody can, because there are so many things that you haven't seen, so many things that you have to learn, so many people you have to meet. How can you say that your goal is clear 15, 20 years from now? So guys, stop making long-term goals. Long-term goals never work. You don't even know what is going to be your passion few years down the line. What are you going to be doing few years down the line? Who are the people you're going to be meeting? So it's okay if you don't have a long-term goal. Having said that, having a short-term goal on what you want to do in the next 2, 3, 5 years is something that is important. And it's something that you have to sit down right now and think to yourself, what is it that is most important to me right now? And in the last few months or couple of years that you guys have been preparing for CAT, preparing so hard that we all have a tunnel vision right now, a tunnel vision that CAT is our only goal. Guys, I see that there are 50 comments so far. I'm unable to read the comments. This is a pitiable from the software side. I don't know why I'm not able to read the comments, but keep commenting, guys. If there are any questions, I will take them after this live session, but keep commenting. However, right now I'm not able to read them. So guys, through the last 1.5 years, 2 years, 3 years that you guys have been preparing, you guys, the only goal you've had in mind is belling the cat, is cracking the cat. Okay, and we have become so tunnel vision towards that goal that we never even thought that what is it that we want to do after CAT. Once we get calls from institute, what is it that I actually want to study? What is the job that I actually want to do? And guys, this is the time where we have to think about those goals. CAT is important, preparation is important, but what is more important is that you start thinking from now on, and what is the next step that you have to do CAT. No need to think 15, 20 years down the line, that's okay. But what is it that you have to do immediately after CAT? A lot of people, I was taking GDPR interviews, etc. for many people, the sessions that I was conducting. So many people were telling me that, I want to do an MBA because I want to work in corporates. And I understand that maybe they're engineers, they're working on the sites, etc. And their only dream right now is working in an AC office in a metropolitan city at the 15th floor, having a coffee machine and having the beautiful receptionist. But guys, it is only with, if this is all your goal, that is that you want to climb the corporate ladder, get into corporates, then let me tell you guys that once you go inside there, you will realize that is not what you were looking for. So just don't have a goal as some things like, I want to go up the corporate ladder. Because guys, you will realize when you are inside that this is what I was working so hard for. So have a deeper goal, have a more clear goal on exactly what is it that you see yourself working that you will enjoy. It is okay if you don't get the answer today. You will not get the answer today. All right. When I was working with one of the big 4 firms, okay, I have worked with people from all old IIMs. There was a guy who was 30 years old, 7 years work experience. He was still thinking if he should leave consulting and maybe do an economics course. There was a manager, he was 35 years old, more than 10 years of work experience, 4 years before engineering, 6+ years after engineering, and after he did his MBA. He was thinking whether, he should leave consulting and maybe go down to following his passion. There was a director in my team who recently quit his job after 15 years of work experience because he wasn't sure if he wanted this to still stick in the industry or still stick to consulting or go to the industry. These people who have been through their IIMs, been with everything, have 10-15 years of corporate experience, even they are confused. And you're telling me it's not okay for you to be confused. Guys, so it's okay. Be confused. Keep looking for what is it that you have to do in the near future. But if you don't find that answer today, it is okay. Don't blame yourself, but keep looking for that answer. When I work with these guys, I realized that of course, if you get into the IIMs, if you get into the best MBA institutes, it is a big step towards success. If you get into the IIMs, if you get into these good MBA institutes, it is a big step towards success, but it does not guarantee success. Getting into the IIMs does not guarantee success. And if that is true, then even that is true that not getting into the IIMs does not guarantee failure. And that is what I want all of you to remember. That if you don't get into the best MBA institutes, that does not mean that you have failed, because CAT or doing an MBA is a very small part of your life, guys. Try and understand. It is a very small part of your full potential. And I don't want you to judge yourself. I don't want you to judge your life. I don't want you to judge your intellect. I don't want you to judge your talent basis of one score that happens due to an exam which takes place for 3 hours in an institute, once in a year. Especially my engineering friends. I don't know why so many of my engineering friends who are appearing for CAT, why are they so disappointed that they are engineers and hence they cannot get into the MBA institutes? Honestly, if they ask you questions like this, now again I'm frustrated, okay? If they really ask you questions like this, that, you're an engineer, why do you want to do an MBA? You're an engineer, why do you want to come into an IIM? You're an engineer, why do you want to come to a B school? The proper answer should be, because the way that the exams are being conducted, the goof ups that are happening, I really think you need more engineers in B schools. That is why, as an engineer, I want to get into B schools. So that I can help you guys conduct that one exam that you have to conduct once in a year for 3 hours, in which goof-ups happen, for which people prepare for years, and then the computer goes off, light goes off, the mouse is not working, and people are not able to do their exam well. And that is why engineers should get into B schools. That is the answer that should be given, but guys, don't quote me, don't give that answer, because sometimes honesty is not appreciated. But enough ranting about the system, guys. I want you to ask each of yourselves, all right? Stop thinking about the live session, stop thinking about the comments. It's just you and me right now. And I want you to ask a question to yourself. And that question is, are you working at your full potential? Today, what is it that you believe is your full potential? And are you working on your full potential? Or do you think that whatever it is that you think you're capable of, you're not doing it? What is it that you think you're capable of? And if you're doing anything lesser than that, then why are you not doing what you're capable of? Why are you not working at your full potential? If this was a face-to-face session, I would have seen you guys here and I would have asked you to show your hands on how many of you think that right now, whatever it is that you think is your potential, how many of you think that you're not working at the fullest of your potential? And I know, because I've tried it, that 95% of you would have raised your hands and said that we know that we are not working at our full potential. But I want to remind this to you that you're not doing it. And the next thing that I want to do is discuss on why are we not able to work at our full potential. And let me tell you right now, what are the reasons that if you're not working at your full potential, if you're not doing what you think you're capable of, why are you not able to do it? So I remember I was traveling in train with my family and we were going to a native place. So the train stopped on a station, okay? The train stopped on a station. It stopped beside another train. There was another train which was already halted at the station. So our train came and stood parallel to the other train on the station, okay? And our train was waiting. And suddenly I felt as if our train began to move backwards. I felt as if our train began to move backwards. I shook my dad's hand and I said, "Dad, why is the train moving backwards? We're supposed to go forward." My dad started laughing. And Dad said that, "Son, we are not moving backwards. The train beside us is moving forward. We are just getting a feeling as if we are moving backwards." Later on, when I went in school, guys, I realized that I was terrible at mathematics, all right? I was terrible at mathematics. I was extremely depressed, but I realized that my depression regarding mathematics was not because I was bad at mathematics, but that depression was because my friends were better than me at mathematics. You know, guys, so this is what relative speed is. So that is when I learned the concept, going ahead, I learned the concept of relative speed. That when you see an object coming at you from the opposite direction, you feel as if it is coming at a higher speed. When you are comparing yourself to somebody else, and even if you're better than your yesterday, even if you're improving, but you see that the people around you are doing better than you, you feel demotivated, you feel depressed because you feel that you are moving slower. But that is not true. You may be moving very fast, you may be developing, you may be improving every single day, but you are feeling that you are staying at the same place or you're improving, you're getting demotivated because you see the people around you getting improved. Groups like these, CAT preparation groups in your classes, in your friend circle, maybe when you're solving in your classes, maybe you were able to solve a question of quants yesterday in 5 minutes. Today you were able to do in 4 minutes, but you don't think of it as an achievement. You don't think of it as an achievement because there are still people around you who are able to solve that question in 2 to 3 minutes. And that is why you're under this constant depression that, I am not good enough for this exam. I am not good enough to get into a good MBA school. I am not good enough to get into good IIMs. Why do you think that way? Because you spent your life from the beginning, right from your school to your JE or your engineering entrances, or for people from the other fields, to your AIM CATs, to your final CAT percentile. Everything that is presented to you is presented to you as a comparison on how you're doing against other people. But how can you compare yourself with other people? Everybody comes from a different background. Everybody has a different strength. Everybody has a different skill set. You want to get into finance. He wants to get into marketing. He wants to do a startup. You want to work in a corporate. He wants to do a social thing. You want to do something else. Then how are you able to compare yourself just based on a number, and he got some point percentile more than you, you got some point percentile less than him, and you conclude that I'm not as good as him? Why does that happen? Guys, if we want to work at a full potential, number one, we need to eliminate this thing from our mind. It is very difficult because every single day, the one word that has to run through in front of your eyes or through your mind is percentile. And percentile means that you are being compared with other people. But let me tell you guys, Stop comparing yourself with other people. Compare yourself with your yesterday. Are you doing better today than you were doing better yesterday? Are you studying more today than you were studying yesterday? Are you getting a better score today than you were getting yesterday? If you focus on that, trust me, guys, the percentiles will take care of themselves. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Even today, there are a lot of people who are asking on the group, this is my percentile, this is what is my cutoff, these are my academics, should I get a college, should I take a drop, should I leave my job, should I take this particular college, which colleges will call me at this percentile? It is okay, guys. There are experts on this group and they are more than willing to help you. That is the most lovely part about them. They are more than willing to help you looking at your profile. But ultimately, guys, the decision has to be yours. Somewhere deep down in your heart, when you're asking that question to these experts on what decision you should take, whether you should take a drop or not, whether you should settle with an institute, somewhere deep inside your heart, you already know the answer. If you are thinking whether if you want to take a drop or you want to settle with a lower ranked institute than you were aiming for, should you take a drop or should you get into that institute? That is the most common question that I receive these days. But somewhere deep in your heart, you already know the answer, whether you want to settle for that institute or whether you want to take a drop, whether you have the guts to take a drop for another year and appear for this exam. Because this exam, guys, is very risky. I understand that if you're taking a pure drop and doing nothing for this exam, sometimes it's not even worth it. So these are the decisions that you have to take, and there will be many experts, there will be friends, there will be parents, there will be online forums, there will be professors who will be helping you take the decision. But in the end, the decision has to be yours. And why does the decision have to be yours? Because I don't think you guys are students. I think that each of you are entrepreneurs. And why do I think that way? Because each of you are taking a risk. You're working for yourself. You're not working, as far as CAT is concerned, your studies are concerned, you're working for yourself. You're not taking a job, and there's a year-end project that you have to develop that you have to deliver for 3 hours, and IIMs are your clients. I think you guys are entrepreneurs. So as entrepreneurs, think about if you can take that additional risk of waiting another year, preparing for another year, and getting that CAT percentile. I know of people that have been able to take this journey and have received tremendous results. For example, even in our eye contact group, there was this gentleman, I was just interviewing him last evening. His name is Kuber Singh. When he joined eye contact, he was getting around 66 percentile. And this year, he's been able to score a 96 percentile. So he made it. But I also know people that got a 93 percentile last year, thought that, I'll be able to get easily a 99 percentile this year. They got a 93 last year, they got a 95 this year. They barely made any improvement. So the decision has to be yours. Are you willing to take that risk? Are you willing to take that additional pressure through the rest of the year to see if you can really get into that MBA college that you aspire to get into? And guys, if you have missed the cutoffs by a few marks, if you have missed if you have, you are called by the best institute and you are not able to convert it, if you're thinking that you're unlucky, guys, let me tell you, you're extremely lucky. You're extremely lucky. You're extremely fortunate. Do you know why? Because the kind of stories that I get, the kind of people that I meet as part of my profession of coaching people for GDPI, you won't even believe the kind of people I meet. There was this girl I met, I will not take her name. She sent me an email saying that she has been working since 2 years after her graduation only so that she can accumulate enough money to fund her MBA education because her parents want her to get married to somebody. And she wants to continue her further education. You know what was the question to me? Her question to me was not which book I should study from, was not which questions I should prepare for, was not for which GK questions I should be ready for. Her question was, sir, if my father comes to my institute saying that, please don't admit my daughter to your institute, will the institute not take me? Because my father is not ready to pay for my education. I have collected money through 2 years and I will be funding my own education, but I don't want the institute to listen to my father and not admit me in their institute. These are the kind of problems that people are facing. Their own family doesn't want them to do an MBA. Aren't you guys luckier in that aspect? Guys, if you're working, if you're not working, whatever it is, the people you meet, etc., nobody wants you to get a higher percentile than they are getting. You are 100% responsible for getting the percentile that you want to get. All right, and nobody, don't expect extraordinary support or anything from anybody, because nobody will give it to you. If you are successful, if you get into a very good MBA institute, the people around you who saw you grow are going to be like, ये बंदा तो पता था, he will be successful. तो देख के पता चल रहा था, she will be successful. And if you don't end up being successful, if you wasted 1 or 2 years as a drop, you've done nothing, you finally ended up nowhere, then those people around you are the first people who are going to be say, वो तो शुरू से पता था, he will not be able to do. नहीं कर पाएंगे, देख के ही पता चला था, लक्षण ही नहीं थे, लग ही रहा था शुरू से नहीं कर पाएंगे. So the people around you guys are gonna make their comments based on result that you get. So you don't take your decisions based on what people around you think about you. You take your decisions based on what you think about yourself. Because people around you are gonna make the comments only based on what you finally end up doing. So don't take their opinions, their considerations on what they think about you in making your decision. As far as effort is concerned, guys, I know there are a lot of people who have come to me saying that, sir, last time I had absolutely not studied and I got 80 percentile. This time I thought that, even if I do some effort, I will easily cross 90. They got only 85 percentile this time, even after working hard. Why does this happen, guys? Why are things like these happening? Because we need to understand that the graph for scoring in a CAT exam or any exam is not like this. It is not linear. It is not linear to the amount of effort that you put. The graph for CAT or for competitive exams like this is literally like this. It is vertically aiming. So for every additional percentile that you're looking at, you have to put extremely hard more efforts. You cannot expect to get a 90 from 85 with the same effort that you got an 85 from 80. And although many of you already know these things, but we don't remember these things when you're making our efforts. There are 3 kinds of people who make efforts. Number 1 is they don't take any efforts at all. These are the kind of people who score a 70, 75 and then they think, they should take a drop and maybe put in some more efforts and come back and do their exams. The second people are who take a normal level of effort. They will be taking easy breaks, they will be studying, they will be doing their mocks, they will be doing everything, but they will be taking only normal levels of effort. And then there are these people. These people who are taking supernormal effort, these people who are taking extraordinary effort, these people who are taking 3 times, 4 times more mock exams than anybody else, these people who are trying to solve 3 times, 4 times, 10 times more questions than anybody else, these people who are trying to develop, overcome their weakness, develop their strength 10 times more than anybody else. These people are very small in numbers. These people are extraordinary people. And it has nothing to do with talent. It has nothing to do with intelligence. These people are just ready to put in 10 times more effort than anybody else. So 3 kinds of people: no efforts, normal efforts, extraordinary efforts. Who are the kind of people who scare me most? Extraordinary people are sorted for life. They will be able to do something, whatever they want to do. But people who take no efforts are way better than people who are taking just normal efforts. You know why? Because people who are taking no efforts, they have no expectation. And when they have no expectation, they're enjoying life, everything is fine, and when the result comes, they're already expecting it. But these people who are taking normal levels of efforts, and which form 90 to 95% of the people that you will meet, I will meet, and the 90 to 95% people who are on this video right now take only normal levels of effort, and that is the biggest challenge that we are facing. That we take only normal levels of effort. If you want to aim for something which is extraordinary, then the efforts that we have to put in have to be extraordinary. They cannot be ordinary. So either you don't put any efforts, or if you are putting efforts, go all in. You should see, hear nothing except that little aim that you have in front of you. That is extraordinary efforts. Don't do a little more than the people around you. Do extraordinary. Do multiples in terms of what people are doing around you, in terms of investment of time, in terms of investment of intelligence. When people have slept at 11 p.m., every extra minute that you're putting in throughout every extra hour that you're putting in throughout your CAT preparation through the whole year for 365 days, it forms 365 hours. You can go through your whole CAT curriculum twice in that amount of time just because you spend that extra 1 hour every day. That is where, guys, the extraordinary effort counts. Everybody would have slept by 11, 12 p.m. But who is that one person who's studying just a little more than his counterparts? That is extraordinary efforts. And how can you and I take extraordinary efforts? Some of us are doing our jobs. We're not getting any time except for the weekends, except for little late nights. Some of us have other problems. We are doing other courses, whatever it is. All of us have our problems. How can we take extraordinary efforts? Guys, I was traveling in this auto rickshaw just a week back, and I saw that sometimes it was a long ride, so this auto rickshaw driver engaged, and I engaged in a conversation, and we were talking about, and he started talking about demonetization, he started talking about RBI, he started talking about Raghuram Rajan, he was talking about SP politics, he was talking about the Agni 5 missile, he was talking about China, about Pakistan, about the Syria crisis. An auto rickshaw. He was talking in Hindi, in an extremely accented Hindi. That means he was not from, obviously not born and raised in a city. I was surprised on how this guy is able to converse on so many things. So I had even thought that, when I get off the ride, when I alight at my destination, I will ask this gentleman, sir, you are driving a rickshaw for the whole day. How are you able to, how do you know so much? But before I could ask him that question, I got the answer on a traffic signal. So in Mumbai here, I don't know if it happens in many cities, if there is a traffic signal, that signal shows how much timer is exactly left from the signal from becoming red to green. So when our rickshaw stopped on the signal, the counter said 25, 24, 23. So these were the number of seconds which were left for the signal to turn green. As soon as we stopped there, the rickshaw guy stood up from his seat below. He removed the Hindi newspaper, opened it and started reading. He did not waste even those 22 seconds to read and gather knowledge. And that is when I conversed with him. Now I've understood the secret and why are you able to know so much? Because you don't waste time at all. Even if you get this little time, you're able to open the newspaper and you're able to read something. He's like, of course, for my children are studying and I live far away from the main city. So I drive the rickshaw 14 to 16 hours every day. So if I stop at 50 such signals for 20 seconds, I'm able to read about half the newspaper. So that is what contributes to my knowledge. So guys, what is the time that you have, those little intervals that you're wasting? Is it a lunch break? Is it your travel time? Are you waking up too late? Are you sleeping too much? Are you wasting time? Are you watching TV? What is it that is wasting your time? Eliminate those intervals. If this guy who has absolutely no GDPR process to go through and he's just reading the newspaper for the sake of getting knowledge, if he can open the newspaper even for 20 seconds that he gets to read, if you are getting half an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to read, if you are getting that amount of break, what is it that you can achieve if you read for 15, 20, 30 minutes every day? That is something that you have to figure out. That is where extraordinary effort comes in. Ordinary people won't do that. Extraordinary people will do it. Even though there are so many people live right now and now they know the difference between people who are extraordinary and ordinary, even then only very few people will go from this level of ordinary to extraordinary because it is difficult. It is challenging. And you may maintain it for 1 or 2 days, but to maintain it for 1 year, it is difficult. It is a challenge, but can you take it? Because when you take extraordinary efforts, guys, you will realize that the ordinary efforts that you were taking were less than 10% of what you're doing right now. And the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about, guys, and one of the last things today is that, the people who came to me with their scores, etc., so they told me, this was one of the most common lines that I got, okay? Switching the subjects, switching the people. I was really expecting a lot of marks in quants because I had worked really hard with quants. I was good with verbal, but I got 98 percentile in quants, but I got only 63 percentile in verbal. Like this, a lot of people came to me. I asked them, what was your strength? What was your weakness? Verbal was always my strength. My weakness was quants, but I got 98 percentile in quants and I got low marks in verbal. Sir, why is that? I was really expecting higher in verbal. Now I'm not able to clear the cutoff. You know why that happens, guys? Because everybody around you in the world is always ready to point out the faults in you, is always ready to point out the weakness in you. So when people are talking to you, they're talking weakness in you. And so when you're talking to yourself, guys, everything that you're listening to me right now, you're listening to me, but at the same time, you're thinking to yourself. There are things that you're saying to yourself. So when people talk negative to you, you talk negative to yourself. When you see people around that you're not able to solve a quants question, you talk negative to yourself saying that, hey, quants is my weak subject. I'm not able to do quants. People around me are able to do quants. People around you look at you and say, your professors look at you and say, hey, you have to improve in quants and etc. That's fine. If you are weak in quants and you think you have to improve in quants, that's your weakness, you have to improve it. But I want you to change your perspective from now on. I want you to look at what is the strength that you have. If your strength is a particular subject, then rather than ignoring it or putting it the last or the least priority as part of your preparation because you're already good at it, I want you to make it the first priority in your preparation. Because it's the same example like Virat Kohli. If he was not good at bowling, he was good at batting. He kept practicing how to bat more than any other person. He kept practicing how to bat, just that one skill. He did not focus too much on, he focused on bowling, and of course you need to clear cutoffs. So you need to focus on the subjects that you're weak at, yes. But focus extremely and too much as possible on the subjects that you're strong at. And believe me guys, you will see that difference happening, because in future you will not be working in companies that are weak, or you will not be working in profiles that you're bad at. You will not be applying your skills which you're bad at. You will be doing everything in your life that you're good at. So why are you spending so much time right now on something that you're bad at? So spend more time on what you're good at and less time on what you're bad at. Make a plan. When you are putting extraordinary efforts, you will find time to do all of these things. But remember guys, remember your strengths. What are those strengths? And tell those strengths to you yourself each and every day, because nobody in the world guys will ever come to you and tell you that, listen, this is your strength, improve it, build on it, this is your strength. Nobody will ever tell you. Only you have to tell yourself that this is my strength and I have to work on it, so that in this particular subject, even if I'm scoring a 99.5 percentile, it is less for me, because if this is my strength, I want to be the highest score getter in all of the country as far as this is concerned. Again, we don't have to compare with other people, but each time that you appear for that subject's exam, your marks should be better than what they were yesterday, if that is your strong subject. So focus on your strong subjects, guys, more than you're focusing on your weak subjects. Yes, adequate focus on the weak subjects, but more focus on your strong subjects. Do this. Try this out. I know it's sounding extremely absurd, guys, but I have tried this with executives, I've tried this with professionals, I've tried this with students, I've tried this with every kind of people that I've met in my life, and I've delivered life coaching sessions to. It has worked for them. I know, and I'm confident that it will work for you. All right. Now guys, one of the most important things and one of the final concepts that I'm going to discuss today, that I have discussed in few of my GDPI batches, that concept is that whenever you're looking at an exam, or you're looking at your GDPI, or you're looking at any important event coming up, your mind immediately starts generating possibilities of all the things that can go wrong. This can go wrong. What if in the GDPI they ask me a question that I don't know? If you're appearing for your CAT, if you're bad at quant, you're thinking, what if they ask the toughest questions in quant? What if I'm not able to answer? So your mind repeats everything again and again of what can go wrong, and when the exam comes, there is an extremely high probability that whatever you thought, most of those things start going wrong. Now, how do you change it? There was this legendary footballer called Pele. He played for Brazil. One day an interviewer asked Pele, Pele, there are so many people in Brazil who play good football, but what makes you a legend and what makes them just normal football players? And Pele said this, that they practice as much as I do. They play as well as I do. But here is one thing that I do different. Before my match, I go to my restroom, I close my eyes, lay down on a bench, put a towel over my eyes, and just imagine with my complete heart on how I am winning that match, how I am dodging balls, how I am making the exact kicks, and how I am landing goals. That is when I repeat this to myself, and when I finally walk onto the field, I feel as if I have already done it 50 times over. And I just repeat the memories that are going on inside my head. This is what happens when I do my speeches also. If I keep thinking negative, more than 16,000 people that I spoke last year. Even tomorrow, if I have a speech, I start feeling nervous. What if these executives don't respond to me? What if these students make fun of me? What if they are not able to be impacted by what I'm saying? When I let these negative thoughts go in my head, when I finally go for that main speech, it all collapses. It has happened in the past. So this is what I started doing. In my head, I started imagineering. It's not imagining. It is imagineering, because it is a science. It happens. It has been proven by the best sportsmen, by the celebrities, by politicians. All of these people practice this technique. The most successful of them, it's called imagineering. That you imagine in your head every single day when you wake up and when you go to sleep, that your CAT exam is here, your interview is here, and you are studying at the institute that you always wanted to study in, and you are nailing that exam. You are answering all questions. You are able to finish it in time. You are studying at your favorite institute. You're getting placed where you want to be placed. It will take barely 2 to 3 minutes every day, but I want you to meditate, have your eyes closed for 5 minutes every single day and imagineering. As strange as it sounds, because we've never done it, And I know so many people on this group who are listening to this right now, so many of you will not do it. Only a few people will be able to do it every single day until they reach their goals, because their goals will keep changing, they will keep growing. Whatever is your goal, 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking. 300 seconds every day, just close your eyes, find some time, guys. Wake 5 minutes earlier. That is the best time, quiet time for yourself. You're being bombarded with digital things, with opinions, with facts throughout the day. That quiet time, 5 minutes in the morning or 5 minutes before you go to sleep, imagineer on how positively you think your exam will come over, on how positively you think you are reaching your goals. Trust me, guys, do this. That thought process becomes your reality. All of your body parts, all of the particles, your atoms in your body start aligning to that goal that you've thought in your mind. That is the best part about imagineering, guys. Try it out. All of you people, I know there's a lot of pressure on your head right now. Some of you are looking at a drop, some of you are juggling it with your work experience, some of you have left your job and prepared for CAT. But I know, guys, that whatever it is that you do today, the decision that you take today, talk to a lot of people, finally figure out that what is it that you have to do. Just remember that even if you're not able to get into the best institutes, but you keep working hard, extraordinarily hard in whichever institute you are, and after you go into your work life, you keep working extraordinarily hard, there is nobody that can stop you. There is nobody that can stop you. Just one institute, just one exam does not determine what happens with your life. Choose a path and keep working hard, guys. Keep your goal of success in front of you. Don't be demotivated. Be perseverant. Keep going towards that goal. And trust me, if you keep doing those extra efforts, some people who may have succeeded you today, they must have got into better institutes. Tomorrow, if you have scored a bad percentile today, if you were not able to get into the best colleges, you've just lost a battle, my friends. You have not lost the war. You've lost a battle, you have not lost the war. But if you keep thinking that the CAT was my only goal, it was not just a step towards success. CAT is a step towards your success, it is not your goal. If you miss that step, it's okay. You've just lost a battle. The war is yet to be won. Keep going, guys, on whichever path that you choose. Keep working hard, and you will look back 5-7 years down the line and laugh at yourself that I remember I was so sad, so depressed at that point in time. Now when I look back, I realize that it barely mattered. That was from my side, guys. I wish you the best. It was great talking to you, and I will address your comments right now after the session, and I wish you all success. This is Mudit Yadav signing out. Take care, guys.